It's tomato season, and if you live in a coastal or mountainous or cooler climate area, you may be frustrated that you can't get big, juicy, big, giant tomatoes like your neighbors in the hot places can. Well, I'm Christy Wilhelmi from Gardenerd, and I'm going to share with you some varieties that grow perfectly well in coastal and cooler climates. Before we get started, the general rule of thumb to understand about tomatoes is they want hot weather, and the bigger the tomato, the hotter it needs to be. When you live on the coast or in the mountains, I usually encourage my students and clients to stick with the smaller tomatoes, cherries, saladettes, and small slicers. But the beefsteaks, what ends up happening is you get lots of foliage and maybe 4 tomatoes. Not quite worth it. Or those tomatoes will come out much, much smaller. And that's not bad, it's just not something everybody is okay with. So, over the years, I have discovered that if you choose tomatoes that originate in places like Siberia and Russia, you end up in coastal areas with tomatoes that grow big and happy. So today I've got 6 or 7 varieties to share with you that I've had success with over time. One of the companies I discovered really early on in my gardening life was Tomato Fest. And no, they're not paying me to say this, I just happen to love them because they are in the business of preserving as many tomato varieties as possible, and they have a collection of cool climate tomatoes. And it's extensive, let me just tell you. So what I'm going to share with you are just a few that come from there, but you can even go there and get a ton more options. Let me start with the one I have grown for the longest, and it is the most reliable, and that's Stupic. It's actually pronounced Stupichka. It's a saladette-sized tomato. It's red. It might seem very boring, but it is an early producer. It will show up in your garden and be ready to pick much sooner than some of your other varieties. The next one is something I've grown a lot and I really love it. It's called a Zoichka, and it's a woman's name and it has a lot of consonants, but easy to pronounce once you just follow the letters. It is a big, chunky, yellow slicer, and I love it. It does really well in my garden. I've grown it year after year after year. It never fails to produce. Another yellow tomato that I really enjoy that is very productive is called Nikolaev's Yellow Cherry. It is quite simply a simple yellow cherry that produces prolifically. That was the thing that came in from my garden the most last year. I rely on it heavily. It's a great tomato. Japanese black trifle, or trifle, however you want to say it, is interesting looking. It looks like kind of a water balloon. It's big on the bottom, pointy on the top, and has black shoulders. That's why it's black. And it is more like a paste plum type tomato, perfect for slicing and or making sauce. Try that one out. Back to the cherries. There's one that I tried a couple of years ago that is so productive I couldn't believe it. It's called Blondkopfchen, and it is a yellow cherry, but it has a little bit of a green shoulder going on to it, so it's interesting and different, not like a yellow pear, but you know, a little more interesting. They were very productive, very sweet, and easy to grow. Next is Donna, D-O-N-A, Donna. It's a basic red saladette-sized or bigger tomato. I cannot tell you, this one ended up volunteering somewhere in my garden the following year after I grew it. It did really well when I grew it, but then the following year it volunteered in a rose bush back there, almost in no sun. It climbed all the way up to the top of a climbing rose bush and produced like crazy. I was picking tomatoes from over my head, and it did nothing. I mean, it got nothing from me. No water, no fertilizer, nothing. It did great. So Donna, add this one to your list for sure. And the last one I want to mention is a paste tomato that gets really long and chunky, and that is called Opalka. If you are into making sauce, try this one out. It's bigger and pointier than your San Marzanos. It's also a little bit on the curve, looks kind of like a pepper because it's curved at the bottom. But I have friends who grow it every year and they swear by it in our community garden up the street. and I've tried it here at Gardenerd headquarters, and it's done really well. These are just an assortment, a small sampling of the many, many, many coastal and mountainous varieties that you can try growing in your garden if you live in a place that is not super hot in the summer. For more information about growing tomatoes in general, you can get that at gardenerd.com, where you'll also find my books and links to our online courses on your garden planning for your season and pest control, which will come in handy later on. Consider becoming a Patreon subscriber to support all the free stuff that we do here at Gardenerd. Patreon supporters get behind-the-scenes goodies, monthly hangouts with me, and answers to your burning gardening questions in an expedited fashion. Check all that out at gardenerd.com. Happy gardening.